We took a look at the chords already for Blue Bossa in C minor, using our drop 2s, especially on the middle set and the top set of strings. And let's do the same now with the C major song, All of Me. We'll be looking at C major 7 here. I'm going to do the same inversion that I used in Blue Bossa. This is the 3 on top. But now it's a major 7 with the E natural on top, rather than the C minor 7, which we had in Blue Bossa, with the C minor and the E flat on top. In that song we ran up to an E flat minor in one point as we did a 2-5-1 into D flat major. In this one we'll see more of what we see as a Tin Pan Alley kind of progression. That's C major to E7, A7 to D. So what we'll do quickly here is run through some of the inversions and the voices we're going to use, and just a little explanation as to why I'm doing that. My first move isn't going to be voice leading. I'm going to grab that C major 7 with the 3 on top again. That's C, E, G, and a B. So that's major 7. The nearest E7 would be to come off this root on top, which is going to be a beautiful chord right after this C major. And then we could work our way down to an A7. But like we saw in Blue Bossa, because voice leading is often leading us down the neck, I don't want to run out of my real estate immediately. So the same thing I did in Blue Bossa. I'm going to leap up to the E with the same inversion, 3 on top. So first we have C major 7 for 2 bars. E7. This will be the 7th fret, 7, 9, 7, 9. That puts the G sharp on top of that chord. When I know I want to be out here, maybe I could have grabbed my C major 7 on the lowest set of strings. Same inversion, 3 on top, C, G, B, and E. And then the E7 right nearby. But since that's the same inversion, I might as well use it back here. So for 2 bars we have the C. And the E7. Now I'll use real voice leading. The 3 on top, E7, goes to an A7, 7 on top. So this is frets 7, 7, 6, and 8. This is the E and the A, the root is there. C sharp, the major 3rd, and the dominant or flat 7, the G. Voice leading to a D minor 7, 3 on top. I could come out and do the same E7, or now I'm going to choose to use this root on top. So I have root 5, 3, the G sharp, and D, the flat 7 here. To the A minor 5 on top, root on top, voice leads to 5 on top. So here's E, A, G natural, and the C natural. I find this grip, as you can see, a little stretchy between fingers 2 and 3. So what I'll do first is do the A minor 9. I'll add to this chord this B note. Whoops, that's the exact same chord as my C major 7. This gets me back into the fingering, gives me a bit of breathing room to now move into the A. So I've got E7. I'll use that A minor 9 or C major 7 to the A minor, to root on top D7. That's the exact same voicing I had on the E7, 2 frets lower, to D minor, to G7. In that version I wrote the 9 in it, I put the A in it. I might just do both of them. So D minor, G9, G7, C. So I've resolved here to the C with the 3 on top that I started with. Just like we talked about in the last song, the actual resolution from this G7 would be a C with a root on top. But I don't want to use that version, so I'm hitting this one. On my second bar of that C7, C major 7, I'm just going to leap onto the next set of strings. Whole new voice. As I talked about before, I'm not actually going to stick one entire chorus on one set of strings and then on the next set of strings do another. They will be mixing and matching according to voice leading, according to where my hands are and what my ear is choosing. But right now, once I'm up here, I'm going to stay on this top set of strings for a bit to show you those chords. So C major 7, it's this same C, these 5th fret notes here, the G, C, and E, with the B on top, the major 7. So it's 7 and then a bunch of 5s. E7 has many of the same notes, the B and the E are the same. Put a D in for the flat 7 and raise the G to a G sharp for the major 3 in this E7 chord. This is a 5 on top, which we saw earlier goes to a root on top, so here's A7, 5, 5, 6, and 5 for frets. That's root 5, 3, and flat 7. The D minor 7, based on this D on the 2nd string. Then again, just because you've seen a lot of that from before, from the Blue Bossa song, halfway through I'm going to leap to this D minor 7, 7 on top. So there's my C on top, my F, and then D and A in the lower strings. At this point, I usually do major and minor 7. The song is actually asking for triads according to the real book, so they want F and F minor. Since I'm in this range, I've got an F on top at the 6th fret here, on the 2nd string. I've got an A on the 4th string. So I'll just play those notes, F, C, and A for the F major. This A goes to A flat for F minor. I could be going then from there to C major 7 with that 7 on top from here, but we've already seen it, so I'm just going to drop to my prior C major 7 on the 2nd set, so I can use the E minor that you haven't seen yet. This is E, B, G, and D. These are 2 beats each. 1, 2, 3, 4, A7. The A7's easier to reach than the A minor 7 for me, so I don't default right away to the 9. I'll actually use the root in here because I can reach it easier. It just fits my hands better. So you see here's C major 7, E7, A7, D minor 7 again, which you saw. I can go to the G7 again like you saw before, but let's use a different one. How about a 3 on top on the bottom set of strings? This is just your basic bar chord, except in drop 2s we're only playing 4 strings. So the bottom 4 strings here on G7. C6 is actually a minor 7, so I can grab one of those nearby. I have that top one there with the A on top, and I've put the C in brackets here to suggest that I can put a root on that if I want. E flat diminished, here's the flat 5, the A, which is B double flat, E flat, C, which is the D double flat, and there's our G flat, making that E flat diminished. D minor that you've always seen, G7, this root on top, which of course is actually the top of the bar chord we just talked about, and we land on C. The reason for C6 is that the melody note has resolved to a C note, and you don't want a major 7 landing against that root on top. You're getting that minor 2nd again, which causes that clash. So they use a 6 instead of a 7 when that root is on top. So if C's on top instead of a major 7, crunchy, we can put a 6 in it, the A. And there's your C on the bottom. At this point I'm just using this C with the root there. So those are all the chords in All of Me. I don't have a melody here for you, just the chords. So I'll have a run through those at least once here for you. The tune goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 1. And so on. Try to hear that when you're playing or sing along. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go for now. Talk to you later.